Our journey begins in the arid deserts of Moab, where the Israelites have set up camp. This is the backdrop to an intriguing tale that unfolds in chapter 23 of the book of Numbers. The Israelites, on their way to the Promised Land, have drawn the attention and unease of Moab's king Balak. Balak, feeling threatened by the presence of the Israelites, summons Balaam, a well-known seer, to curse the Israelites. Balaam is a complex character, a non-Israelite prophet who communicates directly with God. Despite his reputation for turning blessings into curses, Balaam finds himself in a predicament when God instructs him to bless, not curse, the Israelites. This sets the stage for a fascinating narrative that explores the tension between obedience to divine instruction and the pressure to conform to human demands. The stage is set, the characters are in place, and the conflict is about to unfold. As the tension escalates, Balak, the Moabite king, seeks Balaam's aid to curse the Israelites. Balaam, however, is not a puppet in the hands of the king. He is a seer who must obey the divine command no matter how much gold and honor is offered to him. In his first attempt to curse Israel, Balaam instead blesses them, much to the chagrin of King Balak. Unfazed, Balak takes Balaam to another location, hoping for a different outcome. Yet again, Balaam blesses Israel, and this fuels the tension between the seer and the king. Each unsuccessful curse deepens Balaam's understanding of God's will. He comprehends more and more that he cannot oppose the divine plan. As the pressure mounts from King Balak to curse Israel, Balaam remains steadfast. He is a man caught between the will of a king and the command of God. Despite the mounting pressure, Balaam remains obedient to God's command, setting the stage for the climax. In a moment of divine revelation, Balaam delivers God's message, blessing the Israelites instead of cursing them. In this crucial episode of our tale, we reach the pinnacle of our story, where Balaam, a man precariously positioned between the allure of power and the call of obedience, is finally forced to make his fateful choice. In a twist that astounds the gathered audience, Balaam for the third time bestows a blessing on the Israelites, extending God's favor onto them. This act, a stark contrast to what King Balak had been fervently expecting and indeed relentlessly demanding, leaves the king dumbfounded. The king had anticipated a curse, a verbal damnation to pave the path for his intended conquest of Israel. Imagine, if you will, the sheer disbelief etched on Balak's face, his ambitious plans to dominate Israel foiled by the very man he had enlisted to facilitate his cause. Balaam, at this pivotal juncture, stands resolute in his conviction, embodying the virtues of faith and obedience to God. He firmly decides to be an instrument of divine will rather than being manipulated like a chess piece in Balak's strategic power play. This choice, this bold act of defiance against the king's wishes, marks a significant turning point in our story. The repercussions are swift and discernible. King Balak, disillusioned and brimming with anger, parts ways with Balaam. His dreams of conquest, akin to a castle built on sand, come tumbling down. Balaam, however, walks away with his dignity and his faith unscathed. He departs having made a choice that reflects his core values, favoring obedience to the divine over materialistic rewards. This climactic event in our story serves to resolve the primary conflict that has been simmering beneath the surface, the internal struggle between obedience to a higher calling and the temptation of earthly power. It showcases the profound influence of unwavering faith and obedience. It reminds us that true victory is not in domination or subjugation, but in aligning ourselves with God. In the face of great adversity and powerful temptation, Balaam chose obedience to God. This decision, this unexpected defiance, culminated in an ending that was both surprising and profound. This climax effectively resolves the main conflict, the tug-of-war between obedience and temptation, between divine will and human desire. It illustrates the power of faith and obedience, demonstrating that true victory is not in conquest, but in aligning ourselves with divine will. In the face of adversity and temptation, Balaam chose obedience, leading to a resolution that was both unexpected and profound. As the dust settles in the desert, we find ourselves reflecting on the narrative's conclusion. The book of Numbers, chapter 23, has taken us on a journey, one filled with anticipation, frustration, and ultimately divine intervention. The aftermath of the events leaves us pondering the power of faith, the obedience to divine will, and the futility of going against it. Balak's disappointment and Balaam's inability to curse Israel are stark reminders of the limitations of human desires when faced with the omnipotent divine will. This chapter, in essence, teaches us about surrender. It shows us that obedience to God's command, even when it goes against our wishes, brings about a greater good. The story of Balak and Balaam is not just about a king's failed attempt to curse Israel. It is about faith, about surrendering to a higher power, about understanding that our plans are subject to divine will. And so we leave the desert of Moab carrying with us a tale of faith, obedience, and divine intervention, reminding us of the endless depths of wisdom hidden within these ancient texts. Are you ready for the next chapter? Just click here to go straight to it.